TSS Fantasy. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Let's get it!
Part 2, indeed.
Part 2.
All right, we're going to take a shot at this again. We did it last night, and unfortunately, the internet was all over the place. So let's get it started tonight. Hopefully, everything is running well. Start with our introductions. Welcome to the studio. Nick, you got Flandered Macaronis.
Yes, I am Nick. You got Flandered Macaronis. And, of course, I'm going to do my holiday gift plug. What not? A better gift idea to get a fantasy football fan a fantasy football podcast t-shirt. Where can you get such a beautiful t-shirt? Well, I'll tell you where you can get one. You need to go to tssfantasy.com and click on merchandise. And then you'll see our lovely array of short and long and tank top t-shirts. Get one, get two, because I'll tell you what, clothes get dirty and guys don't want to do laundry. So get two.
Yeah, I like that. Indeed. Get to. We definitely don't like to do laundry. I totally agree with you on that. Dr. Miller, welcome to the studio. Part 2 again. I appreciate you coming in, sir.
Well, it was true during part 1, and it is still true during part 2. Tonight on the house call, we are going to talk about what NFL coach needs to tune in to TSS Fantasy for his up-to-date information.
Indeed. They all should be tuning in to TSS Fantasy in my humble opinion. All right, don't forget, guys, we are the fantasy show, The People. Visit us, tssfantasy.com. Get all of our latest rankings that are out right now for week 9. Although I do apologize, I do need to update. I was out at work today. We need to take Aaron Rodgers off the list so during the COVID issue and do some updating there. So if you're looking now, just give me a minute. I'll get that fixed for you guys. Also, don't forget, visit us, all our social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, anything else. We got it. Don't know what we're doing on all of it. We're certainly trying, that's for sure. Also, don't forget, visit us on Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. We have a ton of sports podcasts for you, from wrestling to racing to local stuff. We got it all for you tonight. And in fact, on Champs or Chumps tonight, we have 2 of those podcasts on. So we're looking forward to that as well. And also, don't forget, visit us on Unhinged Radio. All of those Belly Up Sports Podcast Networks are located on there. 24/7 Radio Network. We're on from 8 to 9 a.m. every morning. Visit us. Make us part of your morning commute. We are the fantasy show of the people. All right, we tried this last night. Let's try it again. Let's get it started with Dr. Miller's house call.
All right, good evening there. Last season, Commissioner, you picked CMC with the number 1 pick, and he went down. This season, you picked Derrick Henry, and you were feeling good, maybe even a little bit smug, and he's first up on the house call tonight.
I was feeling very smug.
So Derrick Henry on Monday was officially placed on the IR with a fracture in his right foot. Specifically, this is a Jones fracture, and I'm not sure we've had an opportunity this season to talk about the anatomy of a Jones fracture. So the 5th metatarsal bone is on the outside of your foot. So if you feel there's a little bump, if you're barefoot and not driving, you can do this right now. Feel on the outside of your foot, there's a little bump. It's called the tuberosity of your 5th metatarsal. A Jones fracture is a fracture just past that little bump. Now, here's why it's problematic. That area of the bone doesn't have the best blood supply. So there's a real risk of some type of non-union or the two ends not really healing well together. Derrick Henry underwent surgery Tuesday morning likely to pin those two bony ends together to improve healing. He's out a minimum of 6 to 10 weeks, but because of the high recurrence rate of this injury, he may be done for the season. Now, I want to pause there. A couple of weeks ago, I gave Ryan Fitzpatrick a lot of respect. I said, here's a guy who dislocated his hip and walked off the field. And I just want to highlight that Derrick Henry, after being seen on the sideline walking around without his cleat, likely with a broken foot at that point, went back into the game. So mad respect for Derrick Henry, but there's only so much you can play on it, and this is going to shut him down for a while, if not the year. Nick, we're going to put you in hosting duties until the commissioner comes back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, Nick, your thoughts on McNichols or Peterson going forward? Do you have any guy you covet more?
As I said, yeah, I would covet McNichols more. Now, when he comes in, AP is gonna he's on the practice squad, and he's gonna take some carries away, especially in those red zone carries.
Nick, your thoughts on McNichols or Peterson?
I'm gonna go with McNichols. I think he's gonna be the long-term solution. I don't think that Adrian Peterson at his age is going to regain his youth, so to speak. So I'm going to say he'll initially give you that first 1 or 2 games, that hot streak, but I think his age and his timing is going to be off. So I would assume McNichols would be the guy to carry you through to make the playoffs.
So I'm going to move ahead to the Jags. Here's another player the commissioner has.
Who else you got on?
We're going to talk about James Robinson. This was originally thought to be an ankle injury, and it looks like he dodged a bullet here. Presently, nothing serious with the ankle. It's been diagnosed as a bruised heel from which he's day-to-day. It's likely he plays on Sunday. If we did this show yesterday, I would have said possible, but I think at this point we're looking at likely he plays on Sunday. Just want to caution everybody. If we see this diagnosis change from a bruised heel to a bone bruise, this could go a couple of weeks. But as of right now, if it's just a heel bruise, I would say the outlook is better than 50-50 for Sunday.
Well, Carlos Hyde is a must pick up, so that's definitely on everyone's radar. Who else do you got tonight, Doc?
We'll do Kyler Murray.
Okay.
So we haven't talked as much about the medial ankle ligaments as we have the lateral ankle and the high ankle. But Kyler Murray sustained a medial ankle or deltoid ligament sprain. Those are synonymous terms standing for the ligaments on the inside of the ankle. And he sustained this on the second to last play of the Week 8 loss to the Packers. Right now, he's saying he only needs the mental reps in practice. So he's resting it physically, getting the mental reps. He says he may play. I think he wants to play. But realistically, it looks like his mobility is going to be limited if he does play. This is a 1 to 3 week injury he's looking to come back in 1 week from. So I think he's optimistic, but this may be a game time decision.
Well, definitely caution for Kyle Murray owners. Have somebody ready for your other quarterback slot. All right, who else we got tonight?
Yeah, we'll go to Jameis Winston. His season's ending prematurely. He tore his ACL on Sunday. He's done for the season. This was a strange-looking tackle. His left foot was planted, and he got pulled down to the left, and that knee just caved inward. And so, yes, ACL. I haven't heard confirmation, but given the mechanism of injury, that medial collateral ligament is likely damaged to an extent as well. But Jameis Winston, done for the year.
Yeah, that looked pretty nasty. Like I said, I've torn ACLs in both knees, and I could feel mine just aching when I saw that tackle. And did not look good. All right, who else we got?
Yeah, we'll go to Sam Darnold. So he's in the NFL's concussion protocol after being, quote, blasted. If you were watching this game, is what the commentator said. He was blasted on Halloween. He was hit hard, but I think the concussion may have come not from the hit, but rather from him hitting the ground. His head took a pretty vicious hit to the ground. So concussed in the protocol, yet to be determined for when he's going to be back.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Who else do we got? Well, not awesome for him, I bet.
Let's move to Gronk. So he missed a month of the season already with his rib and lung injury. And in his return game, suffered back spasms. And, after the game, Coach Arians said that he, quote, probably shouldn't have played, but he kept begging to get in there and re-injured himself. And so I would just like to encourage both Tampa Bay's coach as well as any other coach to tune into the show. Because if you had listened to the house call, we advised against Gronk returning the week before a bye week. We advised him to not return the week before a bye week. And hindsight there, Coach Arians said, yeah, he probably shouldn't have played. So I'd like to agree with the coach and also highlight that back spasms for most individuals might not be so significant, but Gronk's had 3 back surgeries. He had a 7-year period from 2009 to 16 where he had multiple surgeries for both disc herniation and fractures in there. So spasms may be indicative of something more significant, yet to be determined if there is something else happening, but move forward with caution on Gronk.
Yeah, indeed. And like I said, should have listened to the doc, and he, might be, there was no reason for him to play. We had a whole discussion about it. Literally no reason to go out there. Let him chill. I believe I said just chill, Gronk, right? And it's what we said. All right, man. Who else we got?
So T.Y. Hilton, second guy of the week in the concussion protocol. He was concussed in the loss on Sunday. Team's got a short week this week, so he's out for Thursday. But I want to highlight that, the head is connected to the neck. He missed some time for that neck surgery. The neck musculature needs time to recover, needs time to strengthen. His head hitting the ground may be in part a function of an incomplete recovery of his neck after his surgery. So I do have some reservations about his ability to return as rapidly from this concussion as, say, Sam Darnold, because there is something else going on in his cervical spine, at a minimum with the muscles becoming strong as they were before. So proceed with caution on T.Y. Hilton as well. This is not just a concussion. This is a head and recovering neck injury.
Yeah, I mean, if anything else, you should learn tonight that the knee bone is connected to the thigh bone at some point. All right. Who else you got?
So I'm going to talk about the Bears. We're going to do a couple of guys, Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert. And I don't have a lot of information on either. This is just a little brief update. Damian Williams out with a left knee injury. He exited the first quarter of the Bears' loss. But I don't have any information aside of, quote, knee injury. If either one of you guys have something to add, that'd be great. But right now, that's all I've got is knee injury. Who knows what? And then Herbert took a took a knee to the helmet, but he returned, so I expect him back as well.
All right, so tomato. Right now, Khalil Herbert's, it's his show. So right now, no big deal in Chicago's backfield. As far as Damian Williams is concerned, I wouldn't be too concerned with him anyway. All right, who else we got?
Dak Prescott. This is an interesting situation. So we talked about Prescott a couple of weeks ago now. Sustained a calf strain on the final play, week 6. And he shows up for his post-game interview in a walking boot. And I think this was surprise number 1 here. Last week on the house call, we talked about how he had been out of the boot already at that point. So he's been out of the boot. We're looking at like 8-9 days now. He was expected to play this past Sunday in Minnesota, but did not. After the fact, we heard that he received PRP injections. PRP stands for platelet-rich plasma, which essentially means they took some blood from his arm, they spun it down to concentrate it, and then they injected his own personal body's growth factors into his calf. The intent here is to accelerate and promote healing. Now, this happened at the end of the bye week, and there's some medical criticism of this decision to wait that long. The PRP probably should have done sooner rather than later, because there wasn't adequate time for the inflammatory response to subside. So I was going to cite an article out of the American Journal of Sports Medicine, but you can find this just by Dr. Googling. PRP injections result in a brief inflammatory response as the body prepares to heal. I don't know why they waited a week to do something pro-inflammatory to assist with healing. And this is not just my opinion. Again, this is medical opinion that seems to be growing with the criticism of the team doctor. So I do expect him back this week, but it seems like he could have returned earlier if they managed this a little bit more aggressively sooner.
I mean, tighten up these doctors. I mean, you just got to tune into us, man. We got you all covered. He's got your game plan, your medical plan written down for you. He's got you. All right, who else we got, Doc?
Last guy of the week, at least on my radar, is Chris Carson. So we've been talking about the herniation in his neck for a while. I talked about him a couple times. You eloquently commented how this injury is nothing to mess with. I mean, look no further than the WWE. Daniel Bryan, Edge. Number of WWE superstars have had their careers altered by some neck injuries. Chris Carson's entire season has so far been derailed by this. But I think we can't comment on what his prognosis is because I'm going to quote Coach Pete Carroll. I'm going to quote him twice. The first time on October 29th, just a couple of days ago, he said regarding Carson, quote, he's got to make a turn here to show he's getting better. But not even a week later, on November 2nd, Coach Carroll said, quote, Carson wants to go for it next week. So I don't know which quote to take here seriously. Depending on what day you're tuning in, he either needs to make a turn or he's ready to go after this week's bye. I don't feel like it's responsible for me to speculate if Coach Carroll's both directions on this. Again, if you guys have heard something a little bit more current than November 2nd, I would love that, but I don't know what's happening with Chris Carson.
Yeah. The news has been back and forth about him. So I'm not really, none of us, I don't think are really sure, but like we said, it's not nothing to mess with as far as the cervical area is concerned. So hello, it's time, I think, might at least shut it down for the season at the very least. All right, Dr. Miller, we appreciate your time. Again, part 2 you're in. We do appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for Champs or Chumps. We got Vince from the Sports Stove Podcast versus Marty from Intercept Your Lunch. We'll be right back again. Dr. Miller, thank you again, my brother.
Thanks, Doc.
Man, Commish, must be hard trying to get us clowns to come together for the show.
Yeah, especially keeping us motivated during the Jeffter snack breaks.
It's almost like we need a counselor or someone to at least consult us because we don't know what we're doing.
Luckily for us, we signed the best coach in the business, Vision Coach and Consulting.
They have led the way for business professionals for over 20 years.
Yeah, you know what? They offer business coaching, life coaching, and consulting services that can put you back on track for your personal goals.
You don't say, Nick. You know what? Check them out today at coachingandleading.org or on Facebook or Twitter at their handle, Coach Lead Win.
Vision Coaching and Consulting, because every champion has a coach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got our guests in the building. Let's welcome to the studio. We'll start with Vince from the Sports Stove Podcast. Welcome in, sir. Let our listeners know where they can find you.
Right here. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Sports Stove on either one of those. And the podcast, the Sports Stove Podcast, can be found anywhere you get your podcast. We've got a local hour every Wednesday, a live show every Thursday. If you smell what the Sports Stove's cooking.
Love it. Love it. Love the tagline. That's awesome. Marty, let's welcome you, my friend, from Intercept Your Lunch. Let our listeners know where they can find you.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Again, this is Intercept Your Lunch, Marty. You can find us on any social media outlet at INT_your_lunch. We're here. We're a 30-minute show weekly, capturing a lot of the NFL news, but even in the off season, we'll tackle some things. We've even done Tour de France previews as well as Wimbledon previews. So we touch on a little bit of everything. So go check us out. Follow us out on any podcasting platform as well.
Awesome, man. I don't know. That'd be that Tour de France, man. That's some captivating stuff, bro.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting one to say the least.
That's awesome. All right. Got you guys in. I appreciate it. This is our part 2 edition. So my apologies about last night, but I'm glad you're here because we're going to get things started with Champs or Chumps. All right, you guys know the game. Everybody knows the game already. We know the rules. So here we go. Let's talk about our top 10 real quick for this. We'll go with quarterbacks first. Top Tom Brady, 201 points. I mean, he's been money all year. Josh Allen at number 2. Matt Stafford at 3. Jalen Hurts at number 4. Kyler Murray number 5. Pat Mahomes at number 6. Lamar Jackson number 7. 8, Joe Burrow. 9, Aaron Rodgers. 10, Justin Herbert. And I put 11, Carson Wentz on there because we're going to add that to our game here. So we're going to start tonight with Vince. You know I like to put people on their toes to start our game. Vince is actually NFL royalty, so we should all bow down a little bit. Part of NFL ownership for the Green Bay Packers. So again, a big-time NFL royalty in the studio. I'm going to ask you to go against your team and give me why Aaron Rodgers will be a chump this year.
2 words, Commish. Man bun. That's it, right? Chump of the decade. Right there. I look at these rankings and I go, who can surpass Aaron Rodgers? Now, of course, with the COVID stuff, now he's going to miss 1, maybe 2 weeks. That's obviously going to hurt him in overall standings and things like that. I look at 3 guys that are behind them currently that make sense to move up. That's Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, because they're going to be behind throwing like crazy, and Derek Carr's the other one, although he gets hurt this week as well. Honestly, Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, but that doesn't always transition fantasy-wise, especially if you miss multiple weeks. But at the end of the day, the only reason why Aaron Rodgers could be a chump this year is the man bun.
That is seriously so funny. That's literally what Nick was just talking about a minute ago. That's his whole thing with Aaron. I like the man bun. I think it looks cool.
Oh, I'll add to that. I will add to that in a few moments.
All right, Marty, you're up, bro. Compelling argument so far. I want to give a case for Carson Wentz as a champ, the guy on the outside looking in. I would have gone with a Redskin, but unfortunately got nothing in there. Or FT, my bad.
Yeah. Quarterback situation there's a little rocky for us. But looking at Carson Wentz for the Indianapolis Colts, 3 things. First, he's going against the remainder of the season. He's got Jacksonville twice and Houston once, both boasting 25 ranked or less when it comes to secondary defense versus fantasy quarterbacks. Also, I believe that he's finally getting healthy. We saw him have a rocky start to the beginning of the season. Now you're seeing him improve, and I think the Colts will improve. I think they should have won last Sunday, but they were unable to close that out. So hopefully that gives them firing power for the rest of the season. And, to get in the top 10, it means somebody before him will have to drop. And I think somebody that would be Justin Herbert. Right now, overall is 10th, like you mentioned, but he has to face some very tough defenses down the stretch. He's got the 2nd, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th ranked defenses against quarterbacks to finish up the season. So he's going to have to be able to spin the ball. And, he gets a lot of hype and praise, but he's still only a second-year quarterback.
Yeah, Marty, thank you for that. Actually, I have him in another league, and as you were saying that, I'm like, damn, that's actually a pretty tough road. I might have to pick somebody up real quick. So I'm literally scrolling through the ESPN league as we go right now. All right, Nick, round 1, who do you got? Who's our winner for round 1?
Oh, this is a pleasure. As much as I am a Carson Wentz defender because I'm a Philadelphia Eagle fan. In fact, I just went to the game 2 weeks ago in Vegas. I flew all the way out there to watch their ass lose. I'm sorry, Marty, you gave extremely compelling backup information. But Vince, I'm gonna have to go with you because as I was telling I told Jason last week, and I told him right before the show, any man that puts his hair either A, slick back, or B, puts it in a man bun, if I insult anybody, tough deal with it, is a douchebag. So anytime you see a man in a man bun or slick back hair, you are a douchebag. So you win round one.
Wow. Points for the non-man bun. I love it. All right, let's move on to round 2. We're going in with our running backs. Obviously, Derrick Henry, number 1. He's going to be falling out, sadly, for me. Austin Eckler at number 2. Jonathan Taylor continuing having a great year this year at number 3. Swift at number 4. We got Aaron Jones at number 5. Najee Harris, 6. Alvin Kamara at 7. Cordell Patterson at 8. Joe Mixon, crazy he's not hurt yet, number 9. And number 10, Ezekiel Elliott, rounding us out. All right, Marty, we're going to start with you since I put Vince on his toes. Back on your toes now. This is why we got champs or chumps. Antonio Gibson as a chump.
Yeah, currently Antonio Gibson, running back for the Washington football team, 18th. And I think that's only going to continue to slide, unfortunately. Even as a fan, the fumbling issues are concerning. He's putting the ball on the turf a lot, which I think is leading to other folks getting opportunities. He also is pretty banged up. He has this a shin that's actually cracked. So I think in the latter part of the season with the record failing, he's going to get more time on the bench and look for a guy named Jarrett Patterson, rookie out of Buffalo, to get a little bit more in the running attack and maybe even taking away his goal line carries throughout the rest of the season. So unfortunately, I see him as a chump for you fantasy folks.
All right. Well, again, I appreciate you. Literally in the same league, I have Antonio Gibson, so I'm already now looking up your boy. So, man, you're just full of knowledge tonight. I appreciate it. Vince, my friend, your guy. Let's give you some love tonight. Aaron Jones, let's make him a champ.
Well, Aaron Jones is a champ. He is the number 2 option in one of the better offenses in the league. Davante Adams, he's already had the COVID situation, but he will also get dinged up as the season goes on because of all the uses that he gets. Rodgers likes Aaron Jones more than he likes Dillon. Dillon has been an effective back in the backfield, but he really complements Jones as opposed to overtakes Jones in the offense. Aaron Jones is effective both in the pass and the run game. He's the second leading receiver on the team. He leads the team in touchdowns. And we're talking about ending the season in the top 10. Derrick Henry now will begin to slide, although it will take him a couple weeks to slide, but he will begin to slide. You got guys like Cordell Patterson behind them. He's not going to catch him. Joe Mixon, like you said, he's going to get hurt as well. Aaron Jones is comfortably in the top 10. Will finish the season. And I think this week Jordan Love gets his first start as a Green Bay Packer against a very weak defense, Kansas City. Aaron Jones is a top play at running back this week, but he's a champ by the end of the season.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Obviously, kind of like where the Titans going to change the offense up a little bit. I think the Packers kind of do that a little bit. Rely on that running game. I mean, you got 2 guys you can hand it off to. A.J. Dillon's been no slouch neither. All right, I'm going to take round 2. I got to listen, I'm putting you guys on your toes, so I appreciate you coming in here and even talking trash on our team. So, Marty, I'm going to give you round 2 for this one. So we're all tied up 1-1.
All right.
All right, let's go to our receivers. All right, I'd start off Cooper Kupp. It's Cup of Cooper. Koopa, I love it. I mean, got my name, so I got to love it. Tyreek Hill at number 2. Jamar Chase at 3. Listen to TSS Fantasy. I told you he was going to be a top 10 guy. Number 4, Deebo Samuel. Number 5, DK Metcalf. Number 6, Devontae Adams. Number 7, Chris Godwin. 8, Mike Evans. Number 9, DJ Moore. And 10, Hollywood Brown to round us off. All right, Vince, we're going to go with you. I'm going to keep it in the family. Devontae Adams, let's make him a champ.
Devontae Adams, if you're in a PPR league, he's a champ every year. But he's got 19 more catches than anybody else on the team, 36 more targets than anybody else on the team. He has missed 1 game, but when he's on the field, it doesn't matter what the defense does. They cannot stop him, especially when Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. We know Rodgers is going to miss 1, maybe 2 weeks. But at the end of the day, Devontae Adams is who he is, not because of Aaron Rodgers, but because of Devontae Adams. He's averaging over 100 yards a game. Again, when Rodgers is there, he is Rodgers' favorite. Even everyone on the field knows he's throwing to Devontae Adams. Adams still makes the catch, makes the play. He's going to score. He's going to get yards. He's going to get catches. And in my opinion, Devontae Adams is the number 2 receiver in the league in talent. And when it comes to fantasy football, he's going to be a top 10 receiver every year.
Yes, indeed. It is Mr. Adams if you're nasty. No doubt about it. All right, let's get it back to you, Marty. All right, Mr. Terry Scary McLaurin. Let's hear him as a champ.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, Washington football team wide receiver, arguably, I believe, the best player on our football team. If you look at it, I think one thing that he's missing dearly is his buddy, Curtis Samuels. Has only played 1 game healthy this season, and that was against the Atlanta Falcons, which drew some type of we won't say like hardcore coverage, but they have to take account for him. And in that game, he scored over 30 fantasy points. So after the bye week, Curtis Samuel is hopefully coming back for that. And volume targets for this guy. 4 out of the 8 games this season, he's seen double-digit targets, as much as 14. And you also have to remember that Ryan Fitzpatrick potentially coming back healthy at the end of the season. It looks like a losing season for us, so they'll probably throw any solution at quarterback, and I think he might be a guy that's going to, again, target Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, Ryan certainly loves to throw it down the field, and like I said, sometimes Terry looks like a man amongst boys out there sometimes. All right, Nick, round 3, who you got?
Again, both compelling arguments, stats galore. Vince, your lunch just got intercepted. Marty, you win.
All right.
But ching. All right, it's 2-1. We got to intercept your lunch is up. Let's go to round 4. Champs or chumps for tight ends. All right, so of course, who else? Travis Kelce at number 1. Mark Andrews at number 2. Number 3, TJ Hawkinson. Number 4, Mike Gesicki, my boy, only boy I got. Dalton Schultz at number 5. Kyle Pitts at number 6. Number 7, Noah Fant, who, by the way, I heard earlier is also on the COVID list now. Darren Waller at number 8. Dawson Knox at number 9. And number 10, CJ Uzomah. All right, so we're going to go to Marty here. And what do I got you? Oh, Mike Gesicki as a chump.
Yeah, your boy Mike Gesicki. This is a tough one, right? He's 4th rated, like you said, falling as a chump outside of the top 10. Diving a little bit deeper into there, the defenses that he's going against. There's 3 tough matchups there. He's got New Orleans, Tennessee, and New England all in the top 10 when it comes against tight end scoring and fantasy. Another thing, too, is he only has 2 touchdowns on the season. Red zone targets are a little bit down compared to maybe some of the other tight ends within the top 10. And also you have to look at the Dolphins' wide receiver health. Hasn't really been there this year, so that leads to more targets. But as the season will progress, I think they're going to try to advance Tua down the field. You'll get Parker full healthy. And for an example, if you look – that London game, Dolphins, commish only had 3 healthy wide receivers that game. So Gesicki was lined up all over the field. As the wide receiver health progresses, Gesicki's targets will decline.
Totally agree. Good hit there. Also, Will Fuller will be back as well in the mix. So, then that'll, of course, eat into those targets. You saw what happened with Parker came in last week. That ate into his targets as well. All right, TJ Hawkinson, Vince. We actually talked about him on your show way back when. Let's hear your argument for a chump.
It is hard to make an argument for a top 3 tight end to end the season as a chump. I before the season was very low on Hawkinson, and he has been where most people said he would be, not where I said he would be. I look at a few tight ends: Kelce, Andrews, Gesicki, Pitts, Waller, Ertz, and Hunter Henry as guys that can finish above Hawkinson. Then after that, I'm going, how in the world could he fall under that? So I'm going to give you 2 names that can bring us to the point where TJ Hawkinson ends the season as a chump. Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. TJ Hawkinson says, I can't play for this team anymore. This just isn't worth it. I'm going to sit out the rest of the season. I can make up all kinds of different excuses. I'm just done with this Lions team. He announces his retirement next week. Here it comes. TJ Hawkinson's a chump.
Listen, if anyone can resurrect the memory of Barry Sanders and champs or chumps, you, sir, get the point. As crazy as it sounds, we are all tied up. I don't know how this happens every time. So we are to our defenses. All right, number 1, we got the Bills. Number 2, Cardinals. 3, Saints. 4, Colts. 5, Bucks. 6, Patriots. 7, Cowboys. Number 8, Broncos. 9, Rams. 10, Titans. And, of course, I added the number 13th ranked Packers and the number 21st ranked FT. All right, Marty, you're up first, man. Let's go. I want to hear it. Give me your FT argument for a champ.
This might be the toughest question I've received all night. I have not had faith in our defense throughout the season, but if you're looking at them for a champ finish, you always have to look at the front 4. Unfortunately, Montez Sweat will be out for a month with a jaw injury, but we still have 3 very talented pass rushers against the defense in Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, and Deron Payne. Don't forget Matt Ioannidis on that front. He's very talented as well. Also, we've had some scheme changes in the last 2 weeks. We've moved Landon Collins from free safety to linebacker. The dude just couldn't catch a cold out there. He couldn't cover anything. So bringing him closer to the line, hopefully his season will be short on the bench at some sort. That's how this team will finish as a champ, honestly. And then we have a young secondary. Hopefully they'll continue to grow. Again, William Jackson III, off-season signing, banged up, but it's only helped us as he is not a scheme fit as well. So some changes on the back end is happening, more to come, and that will lead us to be a champ.
I could feel your pain in that argument. I mean, listen, my team is 1-7. I feel you. All right, I'm with you, man. We need a hotline or something band together. All right, Vince, you're up, man. Let's hear it. Packers as a champ.
3 teams the Packers defense can jump: Minnesota, Carolina, and Denver, to put them into the top 10. They have not been healthy. They still have 9 interceptions, 20 sacks, 5 fumble recoveries on the year. They've been in double-digit fantasy scoring 5 of the last 6 weeks. They made 5 additions. 2 of them seem to have actually worked. Whitney Mercilus and Rasul Douglas, who made the big interception against Arizona last week. Those 2 seem to be paying off. At the end of the day, the Packers get healthy, and as they get healthy and get into this stretch run, the defense improves, and hopefully Joe Barry doesn't come back. I hope he gets healthy, but he missed the game against Arizona, the defensive coordinator, due to COVID, and the defense looked phenomenal against Arizona last week. And either way, this Packer defense will only get better. And like I said, I think there's 3 teams that they can jump there to move into the top 10. At the end of the day, they're not the best defense in fantasy football, but they are definitely serviceable and ultimately a champ.
Yeah, and a good streaming option as well, depending on the opponent. Like I said, a great game
like
against
the
Cardinals. Yep, indeed. Nick, who do we got as our winner?
Wow. Oh, my gosh. Great stats. But you know what, Marty? I think it was just a little bit too hot in the kitchen for you. I think you just got burned by 1.21 gigawatts. I'm going to go with Vince from the Sports Stove. Vince, you are our winner.
All right, so to start it off, Marty, I apologize, but
hey man, just want to let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. You gotta shut the fuck up. And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't want to hear you talking anymore. You gotta shut the fuck up.
All right, and also, one last thing for all of our losing guests. One last thing, the Dumbass of the Week Award.
Dumbass. Thank these. You call me dumbass.
Vince, per our conversation last last night. I do apologize about the language.
All right, our
that's
winner
good.
is
That's good
Vince.
stuff.
This is your shameless plug time, sir. Go ahead, tell us to everyone where to find you and all the great stuff you got.
Well, as Mr. Flanders just said, everybody's invited to the church that I pastor this Sunday. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sports Stove, the Sports Stove Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. I love our Wednesday episodes. I cover Eastern Kentucky University sports, focused heavily on football right now. Basketball is about to start. We had the athletic director on this week. We have a football player on every week during football season. We've had the basketball coaches on. EKU men's basketball will be in the tournament this year. They're a great team, fun team to watch. If you have ESPN Plus, turn them on. They're the most exciting 40 minutes in sports. And I write articles on bellyupsports.com, not only about Eastern Kentucky, about other sports as well. But I'm here and just trying to put out good content as much as possible.
All right. Well, we appreciate you, and you can always find all of his great content retweeted for sure. We definitely will find us on Twitter. We share that a lot. Marty, my brother, I appreciate you as well, especially coming on round 2. You still get your shameless plug time, so go ahead, my brother. Let everybody know where to find you and all the great content you got.
Awesome. Unfortunately, I came up a loser today, guys, but I won't fail you again. Next round, I will try to get the W on Champs versus Chump. But again, Intercept Your Lunch, Marty. Follow us on all social media platforms. We've covered all sports, but we're heavily in the NFL season right now. We've got a lot of great guests coming up for November. So again, check us out at INT_your_lunch and on any podcasting platform of your choice.
Awesome. All right. And next week, guys, on Champs or Chumps, it's the Redneck Bowl. We're going to have Chargaton versus, oh my God, I forgot the other podcast. It is a racing one. My apologies. On the Belly Up Sports Podcast. I didn't even write it down. I had it in my head and I forgot it. All right. Anyway, appreciate you guys coming on tonight. That was a lot of fun. We're going to take a quick break. And if you guys want to listen up, this is when we'll be calling ourselves the dumbass after this. We're going to talk about the things we got wrong tonight. So we appreciate you guys tonight. And again, we'd love to have you on some other time.
Thanks, guys.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Flander fans, this is Nick. You got Flander from TSSFantasy.com. Do you ever find yourself needing financial help and don't know where to turn, and you live in the New York area? Well, Shelton Financial Management LLC is your answer because they do all of the following: audits, reviews, and in addition to bookkeeping, business consulting, tax prep, and much more, they do it all. To contact them for your financial business needs, you can find Shelton Financial Management LLC right here on Facebook or directly at the following number: 585-376-0574, and on the web at SheltonFinancialManagementLLC.com. Shelton Financial Management LLC is our number one pick for our financial needs.
All right. So literally since last night, a shit ton of things have happened. So I know that we're going to talk about the things we got wrong, but let's do that first, and then we're going to get to some news because we really got to share some stuff. So we're going to kind of blow through some of the things we got wrong last week.
Told you so dumb, baby, you're so dumb. I can tell right now, you ain't no good for me. When I think.
All right, let's just go through it real quick. I mean, you already know the story. I'm sorry. Let me do this first. You already know the story on Ultimate Team. We've had this thing going for 4 weeks, and I've won it every time. So listen, if you want to know what the Ultimate Team is every week, holla at your boy because every week I'm the winner. All right, Josh Allen, Derek, hey, listen, I feel you. You've been number 2 every week. We've talked about it. The guys that show up to the show are the guys that are 1 and 2. All right, you guys saw our Ultimate Team. We'll put up on the website because we don't want to bore you if you listen to the podcast. And on our starts and sits, just talk about some of the things we got right and wrong. Obviously, horrible call with me with Kenneth Gainwell. He did absolutely nothing. I had him as one of my starts, and the same with Jalen Hurts. It was basically a defensive, Bart Scott, Jordan Howard. I mean, I don't know who else scored in there, but it wasn't those two, that's for sure. On my sits, got wrong Brandon Cooks. He actually had a decent game with 20.3. So those were some of the things I got wrong there. Far as Mr. Flanders, now I listened to our episode too, and I said, all right, we're going to see if I'm going to hit the dumbass for this Ben Roethlisberger start.
Here we go.
Listen.
He wasn't totally wrong.
It's not horrible. It's not
fantastic.
It's not fantastic. It's not horrible. It's not dumbass worthy. So I wanted to at least mention it because I was listening to the show and I was like, oh yeah, I did say that. So, all right. So not so bad there, but
yes, I know.
I gotta say, and this is for me too. This is a dumbass for both of us. Me for Kenneth Gainwell and you for Emmanuel Sanders, who got absolutely nada.
Dumbass.
All right, for the amount of time, we'll just play it like that. All right. As far as the sits were concerned, pretty good sits there. You nailed Heineke, Mike Davis, Mike Williams didn't have a good game. Jared Cook or the Vikings D were okay as far as defenses go, but pretty good there, decent on that side. Our cohorts did pretty well as well. James Robinson didn't do so good for the juice on his start. And Ryan Tannehill had a decent game. So did Tyler Lockett. I think that surprised all of us, for his sits. And the Jets side, Kyler Murray, we were just talking about that. Crazy, like not really a Kyler Murray type game for him. So the Jester was wrong there. But other than that, pretty decent game. And his sit-ems, though, I mean, Amari Cooper.
Give him the dumbass for that.
Okay, thank you.
Dumbass. Thank these.
I mean, there are some big ones on there for sure. All right, we'll move on because, like I said, there is a lot of stuff that has transpired since yesterday, which is kind of cool because then we at least get a chance to talk about it now anyway. So, so let's talk real quick about first we can talk about Henry Ruggs. Now, we're going to talk about this a little more in depth with Mary Jane on Friday if she's willing to come on, just talk about the legal aspects for this young man. But man, it's just a really sad story all the way around. Of course, feeling bad for the victim first and foremost. At the end of the day, someone's life was taken. Also her dog. I mean, at the end of the day, lives were taken when they shouldn't have been. The guy was going, from what the reports were saying, 156 miles per hour and drunk. I mean, this is just, hello, you're an NFL player. It didn't make any sense. And both him and his girlfriend both seriously hurt as well. So just sad all the way around. Nick, you want to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there is absolutely no reason in the world, anybody, with all this transportation services we have today, there should be no reason in the world you should be getting behind the wheel when you're impaired, especially if you're an NFL player, because they have a hotline. The NFL's got a hotline to say, I'm too drunk, come pick me up. That's just irresponsible. He's going to jail for at least 2 years. Look at the Dante Stallworth info from a few years ago. Look that up. But, yeah, I mean, his life is ruined. His family's life is ruined. And so is the victim's family's lives are ruined as well. I mean, it's disgusting and despicable and all the way around. Poor choices. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's, like I said, stupid. People make stupid choices, man. And now he's got to live with it, and he'll be living with it in an 8x8 for a long time.
Yeah, so just being responsible to our listeners, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. If you're feeling fucked up in any way, just call an Uber, call a friend. I mean, especially in NFL, as you mentioned, NFL player, not only do they have a hotline, I mean, everyone wants to be your friend. So hello, have somebody take you home, bro. And listen, at the end of the day, people, they'll respect the fact that you need a ride, call them. It's okay. Reach out. We're here for you. All right, real quick, let's go to Aaron freaking Rodgers on the COVID list. How crazy is that? A lot of stories coming out too that he's talking about. He has an immunization, which what does that mean? He doesn't have a shot. Does he have a shot? Is he just had COVID, so he feels like he's good? A lot of speculation coming out, a lot of craziness, but regardless, he's out at least this week, maybe next week as well. Your thoughts, Nick?
He gets the double douchebag award. Number one, he says he was immunized. He didn't say he was vaccinated, and it comes out report that he was doing some holistic home remedies type of thing to get his antibody count up. And according to the NFL, he wasn't vaccinated. And it's amazing to me how they just caught it now that he wasn't in protocol when he was doing his interviews without a mask. And you know, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's a superstar. He gets the Jordan rules, what have you. But come on, dude. You have to monitor your own rules, because if you don't enforce the rules, why the hell have them? So that's on the league, that's on the Packers, and that's on Aaron Rodgers. And now he could possibly tank their season if it gets worse, because again, he could get it worse, and he can affect other people. So another irresponsible decision.
Yeah, no, agreed. And you know, we've talked about that prior. You know, again. Just get vaccinated, bro. It's no big deal. No, I mean, what is it gonna? It's not gonna do anything to you. Like I think so far we've seen. I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand the big deal. All right, let's move on. We'll talk about. Actually, I'll just quickly mention too. Noah Fant, actually, I also saw is also now on the COVID list as well, so you can mark him out. Now, an also crazy story with Odell Beckham. Excused from practice, basically like, hey, excuse me, you don't belong here today. Thing came out, I guess his dad came out with a video talking trash about Baker, showing how open Odell was and how Baker was missing him. So I guess that's why they excused him. But I mean, it's just a crazy story. I, in fact, the day prior saw the coach talking about him feeling responsible for not using Odell more, and they were going to. And it made me feel so good. I put him in my lineup. And then today, this stuff. So what are your thoughts on it, Nick?
Well, the story, excuse me. The story is his dad posted, I think it's still on there. I haven't checked it out myself. It's 11 and a half minutes of a tirade and a rant of how bad Baker Mayfield is, and he's costing his son his career. Now it's coming out to where there's thoughts that other GMs think that he's declined. And this is also speculation that this is his way of forcing himself out. He had his high profile buddies tweet for him, free OBJ. So and it was also reported today at practice, Stefanski said he's no longer on the team. So he could be released. And I'll bet you there's about 5 teams right now that could use his services that are in playoff contention. And he just very well might get his wish. And he also signed, I believe, a non-compete clause, too, in his contract. So they could literally hold him hostage, just like years and years ago when Al Davis held Marcus Allen hostage with the Raiders, and then he ended up going to the Chiefs like the following season. So OBJ could be done this year.
Yeah, and then I also saw a report that he didn't say that. So
wow. Okay. Well, then again.
All right. It's just like I said, it's just crazy. It's been up and down. I literally just saw that at like a minute ago when I was on my phone, actually. And I'm like, man, I mean, this story just goes up and down, side to side. I always don't know what's going on with it. So just a crazy story with Odell. Anyway, so let's go on real quick. Do you have something, Nick? Go ahead. My bad.
Saquon.
Oh, yes, please go ahead. What else? Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon. Now he is vaccinated, so he just tested positive for COVID. It was the running back coach and some staffers and some members on the team, but of course he's the most high profile, so of course his name gets thrown out there. He needs 2 negative tests within a 24-hour period of each other for him to be eligible for this week's game. So they're speculating rather that he will be out this week and he's going to return after the bye.
All right, I missed it earlier. I missed the cue earlier because I couldn't find the video, but I have breaking news, so now I'm going to play my clip. And tonight on the news. All right, and believe it or not, now one more COVID victim, AJ Green, is now on the COVID list as well. So take him out of the rankings also. this is just getting a little crazy now. I don't know what's going on, a little outbreak so far. So not very good things going on in the NFL, to say the least. All right, real quick, let's go over some rankings. I know we have much time left, but we could just talk about them briefly if we can. We'll bring up our top 10 quarterbacks at the very least, since we got a couple minutes. Josh Allen at number 1 at Jacksonville. I mean, I don't know what else really to say. I had Aaron Rodgers at number 2. He's on my little scrolly thing, but he goes bye-bye. So Matt Stafford now is number 2 at Tennessee. Pat Mahomes now, I mean, this game, I don't know if I should bring Pat Mahomes down a little bit, because now I don't feel like they're going to have to put out as much. Maybe see a little bit more of the running game in that one. Who else do you see on our top 10, Nick, that you think might have a good game? I don't want to sit here and run up the rest of the time with my mouth. Who else you got?
It's fine. Now, I think Mahomes does need to legitimize the fact that they are good. Okay, that so they don't get slammed. They're a paper champion, what have you. But I want to go with Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford's he's going to have a heck of a game against Tennessee. They don't have a very good pass defense. I know that they're in the low 20s. So I would go with Stafford this week out of that list.
Yeah, I like that. I like Stafford. Listen, we've had a big conversation about him prior in the preseason. He's just coming. He's been coming full force. And, of course, now on a great team with a great line, great running game. I mean, everything is all great for Matt Stafford right now. Just going to our running backs real quick. Again, find the rankings on tssfantasy.com. We'll get them updated. So just give us a moment on all that. Nick, anybody of our top 10 you want to note real quick? Other than, obviously, Jonathan Taylor. I know I hate Thursday night games, but that's just the juiciest matchup you can ever have against the Jets. So he's a definite must start. Anyone else you see out of there, because we're about to close it on out.
Yeah, Taylor is going to feast. I think Kamara is going to have a big game this week, especially with Hill or Simeon. I don't know if they've decided who's going to go yet, and then he's going to get his receptions out of the backfield. And then everybody else is pretty much – they're going to do what they're going to
do. Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
Well, we're up against it, so
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, we'll talk more. We'll have a good show on Friday, and we'll really get in depth into the rankings and some of these matchups. So it'll be a fun time. Just talking about Thursday night, though, Jonathan Taylor, must start. Carson Wentz, a must start. This Mike White guy, I don't know. Do you start him? Probably not. You want to just see what happens, at least for the second one. And I wouldn't start, I know he found a lot with Michael Carter in the running game. Not sure I'd start him either. I don't just see a lot going on with the Jets this week. I think that maybe last week was a little bit of an apparition, if you will. So I think really the Jets are going to come down a little bit, come crashing down, no pun intended, and see a big blowout from the Colts. But all these Thursdays and Sunday night games have been close, so who knows, right?
Yeah. The only one that I would start on the Jets would be Carter. I wouldn't start anybody else. I mean, Corey Davis is out. Everyone's jumping on Crowder. No. The only viable Jet is Michael Carter.
And it makes sense to start Carter, too, because, it made sense that he was throwing to him so much. He's just dumping off to him, and Carter was making big plays out of it. So, hey.
14 shutdowns. How do you go against that? But, again, Colts got film on him now, so they're going to figure out how to stop him.
Exactly. So that's the other part of that, is that how much of that Colts D studied on Mike White? Are they going to come out with a big game plan for him? I'm sure they will. All right, guys, we're going to close it out. Don't forget, you can find us on Unhinged Radio from 8 to 9 a.m. every morning. Again, make us part of your morning commute. We are the fantasy show of the people. We appreciate you, and we are out.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're on a mission, guys. We're on a mission, guys.